Hi, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to use geometry nodes to create this stylized impact VFX. Let's add a cylinder. I'll go to the edit mode and now select this face at the top, and then I will insert on the surface, and now I will remove the cylinder body and will keep only the top surface. There you go. Now let's remove the inner circle as well. Okay, so we have a flat ring like mesh right now, and we are going to use this as the base geometry in our project. Let's open a geometry nodes graph and add this node distribute points on faces. There you go. So now we have random points distributed on our circular ring. I'll also add transform geometry node. This will be used to scale the mesh. Let's reduce the number of frames for our animation. I'll go ahead with 30 and add a combine XYZ node to transform geometry scale input. I'll connect X and Y inputs to a value node, and both these inputs will share the same value, and I'll keep the Z input unchanged. So let's add a keyframe at the first frame where value 0, and at the last frame I've changed the value to 1 and again set a keyframe. Let's play the animation. So now our ring is expanding and the points distributed on the rings are also moving in the same way. Let's increase the FPS to 30. Now in order to create that puff effect or the smoke effect, I will add a sphere and increase the subdivisions. Let's go to the edit mode and create a copy of the sphere and place it over here. Also reduce the size. Similarly, I'll create a copy of that second sphere as well and change its size. So I'm just trying to create that puff shape by placing these spheres randomly. Now I'm going to use the remesh modifier to connect all these spheres. Let's change the voxel size to 0.2, and we can also add a subdivision modifier. Now let's apply both the modifiers and also use shade smooth on this puff. Now let's try to add some texture to this puff. So in the shader editor, create a new material and you can give it some name, for example puff colors. Remove principal BSDF and instead add emission like this. Increase the strength to, let's say, 2. Also add a diffusion BSDF node. Add a shader to RGB node and connect it to a color ramp. So this node setup will give us that anime style texture. Now let's add some colors in the color ramp node and also change the mode in color ramp to constant. In the color management under render in the side panel, change the view to standard. This is how it will look in render mode. Right now we have only one color on this puff, so let's add some light. I'll increase the intensity of light. And right now I'm using EV render engine. Now let's hide this puff and go back to our geometry nodes tree. We'll bring that puff as an object info node and we'll be using it as an instance. So for that, we must add instance on point node, and here we can connect our puff object like this. Let's connect random rotation to the rotation input. So this will randomly rotate all the instances and also reduce the scale. And if we play the animation, this is how our puff will disperse. Now I also want to change the size of these individual puffs as they move away from the center. So initially they should grow in size, and immediately after that, as they continue to move away from the center, their size should also reduce. For that we can use float curve connected to the same value node. Now I'm going to connect the output of float curve to scale in instance on points node. So with the help of this curve, we can modify the size of these puffs and make it dynamic. So as you can see, we have a bump initially in the float curve and then it flattens out and then it gradually goes down. And this is the impact of this float curve. So like I said before, the size of puffs increases immediately at the start of the animation, and as they move away from the center, the size becomes zero. So this is how you can create stylized ground impact VFX with the help of geometry nodes. Thank you.